Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be where you are out there. Welcome back to the live stream. My name is Jeff Fritz.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
Greetings. It's so good to see you. Look at that. Our sentiment is already starting off on the right track. 99.9% positive. It's an amazing day. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. How's it going there, chat room? It's so good to see you. Today is, what day is today? Today's a thing. Today's totally a thing. I've got a thing here. Hang on. Today is December 12th, 2019, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. DJ Vortex is here. Motown Andy. Sean is here. Good morning. Stelzy. PowerShell Freak. I'm doing well. Had a busy day yesterday. Got a lot done. Had a lot of things happening. Two Wolf is here. Hello, Smab. Good to see you. Shy Sharp. Good day to you as well. Yeah, yesterday I took care of a couple things. Took care of a Christmas present for Mrs. C Sharp Fritz, and I'm feeling pretty good. It's gosh, we're less than 2 weeks from Christmas. I still haven't put together a Christmas list for myself yet. Like, oh yeah, we're double microphone. I was using the lapel mic, and I realized that the lapel mic for the voice mod was just not as good. So yeah, we're going double microphone so that we can, well, I can share with you, there are now voice mod turn-ins for Fritz Bits now on the channel. You could totally do that. That's totally a thing. You can turn in and force me to change my voice for 5 minutes at a time. Another very laggy day. Laggy? What? Oh no. Oh no. That's not good, Smab. I don't like hearing that folks are not able to connect and get a good experience here on Twitch. No lag there for Motown Andy. Okay, terrific. So let's see. What do we have here today? I'm keeping an eye on things. It's okay for Vortex as well. Fantastic. So last week, I introduced, while we were in Arizona, I introduced this new project, Blazor Web Forms Components. The idea is that we want to be able to make some components for folks that use Blazor server-side that feel and look like the Web Forms components that come by default with ASP.NET, going way back in the day. So that's what we're going to work on today, and that's a little bit about what's going to happen. Yeah, trying to help Smab out there with his broadband. Terrific. My family thought this was funny. They got me a bottle opener at the store there. Yes, the Beard bottle opener. See that? Look at that. So, yes, it's quite literally a beard with a mouth that'll open your beer bottles. I thought that was hysterical. So, something fun. So, let's take a look here. What's going on? And let's get back into these Blazor components that we're talking about. I think there's something here that we're going to have a little bit of fun with. We left off talking about the listview component that was originally in web forms. I think after thinking and kicking around a few ideas with it, for it over the past few days, I think I have an idea how to solve this. And I want to show that to you, and we're going to continue to build these components out here live on stream together. All right? So, let me get some music playing here in the background. Where is it? Music to code by. There it is. Today, I think I'll go with green. Oh yeah, there we go. This is music to code by from our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. Scientifically designed, it's engineered to get you in the flow, get you in the groove, so that whatever task it is that you're working on, you can get focused on. Get stuff done, be more productive. Check it out, mtcb.pwop.com. You can run the music command in the chat room and get your copy of Music to Code By today. Thank you so much, Carl, for letting us listen to your music together here while we write code live on stream. All right. So, when last we spoke, let me head over to the code. Here we go. So this is out on Fritz and Friends Blazor Web Forms Components. Let me put that link into the project command for us over here. Let's see. Working on listview component for Blazor that looks like the web forms control. And there's the link. What's the difference between Blazor components and Vue components? Asks Caparino. Let me put that up. So this is a good question because these are two different things. Blazor components can be compiled, built, and deployed and run on top of one of the Blazor runtimes. They run inside of a .razor file and can have code embedded with them and interact directly with the user interface in place of JavaScript. They also get the JavaScript interop capabilities as well, where Vue components are designed to be rendered on the server and execute as part of the ASP.NET build and runtime, as those Razor components and Razor pages or MVC views are being handled. But very much, you can use Blazor components and call them from MVC and Razor pages now. So Blazor components, right, are in Razor components. It's confusing to me as to which term I should be using for these. But very much is a step up from what Vue components were. And Vue components, folks were starting to call them from tag helpers anyway. So it's a way to simplify and move things along so that we end up with just one type of object, one type of component that we build against here. Thanks for the question. Really good question there, Caparino. Appreciate it. I hope that clears it up a little bit. A little bit of a slow day here in the chat room. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. And look at that sub.
Sean just resubscribed for 7 months. Great explanation.
Thanks so much. And 5 other folks in chat are going to get emotes. And we're going to make another donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Thank you so much for the sub. I really appreciate the support. All right. Let's get back into this. Oh, look at already with the trolling. Here it comes. What mischief, Svava. What mischief indeed. Svava's requested we go to Hamster voice for 5 minutes. This is totally a thing. Totally a thing. Let's see if we can get this to work. All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Chipmunks singing Christmas carols for 5 minutes. Oh, yes. Lots of it. I'm even going to put on my gunners, right? Look at this. And I need to turn down my headphones. I'm getting a little slap back. It's hard to focus. And now we're in Hamster. We're almost there. Hang on.
And now we're in Hamster mode. Oh yeah. Here it comes. 5 minutes of this. Thank you for the follow, Crank Bang. I appreciate that. Yeah, you better be laughing out there. There we go, 5 minutes. The timer's on. So, we were working on Blazor web form components. Yeah, and there's plenty of other redemptions like this. So the idea is we have a bunch of controls out here. Let me open the project and show you what we got. I want to have a web forms page that shows how the control is currently being used, and a Blazor application that shows the new component in use. Let me get it open. This one. Oh, good morning, Ash. I'm sure you're loving this. I'm nothing if not a good sport. Here we go. And somebody's going to end up clipping this and sending it back to the bosses. Right? What happened there? There we go. Bumped my camera. Alright. So we were working on... There we go. We were working on a list view component. Thank you. And this was the way it started. Just a way to output rows in a table. That's kind of lame. Because the original list view, let me pin this, allows you over here to define a layout template and then an item template that allows you to control what your entire markup looks like. This is not a relaxing voice? No. Macho Guru, you think my mic is broken? No. Our friend Svava has requested I go to hamster mode for 5 minutes. We got 2.5 minutes left. Yeah, this is hilarious. This is funny. This is how we write code. Oh my, yes. And there's several others out there you can choose if you want to redeem. I think I have another branch. No, that one. I thought I had another branch. Yeah, there it is. Feature list view. Let's grab that. There we go. So what I started doing was looking at, is there a way I can specify the template inside the Razor component, the Blazor component? And trying to do something like this. And I got confused and turned it around, and it doesn't really work like that. This isn't a thing you can do in Blazor, where you can find something like this and swap it out. Doesn't work like that. I'm gonna wait till this is done in the next 45 seconds and explain what it actually, how we can work with this. So, Cloud Gator says, my ears are bleeding acorns. That's totally a thing. Thank you for the follow, Macho Guru. That's weird. Yes, you can buy this with points. We've got a bunch of those. Ash is out of G Fuel. That's a problem. Totally a problem. I need something on the UI to show that I'm in voice mode. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And that sound means we're done.
All right, I'm back. Is that better? Back to normal me?
Let me add some value.
Motown Andy. You like the hamster voice?
This hamster voice is awesome, haha.
Thanks so much. And we'll make another donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Oh, there's one or two other silky smooth ones in there as well. So what I was thinking... Is it possible to go back to normal voice? Yes. And actually, closed captioning should still be on. You should still be getting the closed captioning at the bottom. So, yeah. So where was I? Yeah, the hamster one's a little bit difficult. There's a couple other ones in here that are pretty okay. I think you'll have an easier time listening. Yeah. Let's see here. So, the list view control has this idea, this concept of an item placeholder that you swap out. And this is replaced with these that are defined by the item templates. And in trying to do this with our component, it doesn't really work like that. You can't have a template and kind of inject into it and say, oh, when this thing happens, go replace. So what I came up with, what I thought, thinking about this, the layout template is actually something you should put around the list view. Think about this. This bit right here is a convenience that really you should put around this and specify really only the item templates, the alternating item templates. Right? And some of these other things that are in here are just things that get injected in place of this, which is kind of weird. Do I have a moose voice? No, I don't. So I'm using voice mod to change my voice. This is voice mod. And there's all kinds of options in here. I don't think there's like a moose. No. But I grabbed about 5 of them that I thought sounded pretty good and dropped them in there. Or a Yogi Bear voice. Yogi Bear-like voice. I don't think so. No, none of these stick out for me as Yogi Bear. Yeah. I'll need to tinker a little bit. You like this voice mod? It sounds like this guy right here. How's it going, Eternal Dev Coder? So, all right. So my thought was this list view component should actually be wrapped with its own layout, which then dramatically simplifies the entire discussion. Right? I don't need to think about injecting or swapping things out in here, right? It just works. Took the day off from work, had some things to do this afternoon. More power to you, Eternal Dev Coder. Hey, Banana Kid, good to see you. So that's the direction I'm going to go, because in talking to the Blazor team, you can't really intercept the content of a component and modify it as it's being rendered. That's not a feature that they support. So let's do that instead, which makes the list view then a little bit more like a repeater component. And I'm okay with that. It still gives a path forward that hopefully has the same features, same capabilities. So we're going to work on this simple conversion to try and support what's in this default list view feature here. Sound good? I hope so. So, the component, which means I don't need this layout template thing. This is was getting a little out of control, how we were going to have to step down and go through templating these things. I don't need that. I also don't need this. I do have an item template then that we're echoing, and I don't need to put this wrapper for table or table header or these things in here because they just don't exist. Yeah, we're aiming for Smab. That's a very good point. We're aiming for 80 to 90% of compatibility, mimicry, so that your component has the same markup. Your markup from web forms, short of having the ASP namespace prefix, should be very similar. Have the same properties, same attributes. Whether those attributes and properties actually do anything because of how Blazor works is a different story. Because data bind isn't really a thing. As soon as you set the data source for a component, it binds and renders immediately. But it should work. Vortex asks, does Blazor support reflection techniques both client-side and server-side? What do you mean by reflection techniques? You're running C#, so you can certainly use reflection to peek into the various types and things that are there. So if it's supported, and it is supported using Mono on client-side Blazor, you should be able to continue doing this. It should just work for you. I'm going to put my sunglasses away. I still had them out from the other day when somebody put me into light mode. There we go. All right. Yeah, you can use reflection and peek into what those things are. Absolutely. So I no longer have a table header. This isn't a thing anymore. We don't need to do this, and nor do we have a layout template, right? I'm going to make this a parameter, but I'm also going to mark it as obsolete, so that if somebody does use it, we get a message output that, don't use this, just wrap it, right? The layout template, child element, let me clear that, is not supported in Blazor. Instead, wrap the listview component with the layout you wish. There we go. With the desired layout. There we go. So if folks do use the right, it'll actually do something. I should put in else here. Thank you. So if we do have items in our collection, if we don't have items in our collection, output the empty data template. Otherwise, output the item template for each item that's in the collection. So we format things properly and paint it. Macho Guru makes a very good point. Web seems to be going through a transformation back to a thick client. Absolutely, and you see that with the JavaScript frameworks like Vue and Angular and React, where you've got these heavy frameworks being deployed and run in the browsers. These Blazor components will work server-side or client-side, so if a thick client is acceptable to you, great. Deploy and use WebAssembly. If not, render and keep it on the server, and you're still in great shape. But it has, yeah, DJ Vortex is right, it kind of bounces back and forth between thick client, thin client, thick client, thin client. And it really depends on your needs. Now, phones phones have great bandwidth and good computing capabilities, so to put a thick client on a phone, that's pretty good. That's okay. We can do that now. but to put that on an IoT device might be a little much. So we're going to bounce back and forth between the two. Mason talks code. That's a good question. Can you use Blazor components with an Azure function hosting it? You can use Blazor components in WebAssembly that are being delivered using Azure functions because they'll be rendered and running then in the browser. But using it server side, I don't think Azure functions host the ASP.NET Core runtime and enough of it to actually deliver a rendered Blazor component. I think that's just a little step too far there. Thank you for the tweet, DJ Vortex. Somebody's got to grab a clip of that and share it, because that was totally a thing. All right. Bouncing through here. Here we go. Maybe one day. I don't know. When I think of Azure Functions, I'm thinking of something that's very light and is not delivering user interface concerns. User interface concerns, you want to roll over to using an app service, a full website that's delivering that, or a static website hosting that's delivering HTML. Azure Functions, you want to be very focused, perform one task and one task very, very well. Don't look at using Azure Functions or AWS Lambda as a new way to build a web service. It's not quite the same. You're not going to get the caching features that you're looking for in a user interface and rendering using that. What's going on here? Okay. All right, so I've simplified the list view there, and over here, layout template, good. Additional attributes, that's fine. All right, so now if I go back over to the way this will look when it actually renders, right? So I have pages, control, samples, list view. So now instead of having a layout template here, which should, when this runs, it should actually, I should be able to run this like this and get it to throw an obsolete message for that. What's the item template? The item template here is this is the format for the items that we're going to output. So in a list view control, we have an item template that says, for each one of the items in our collection, render it using this syntax. So we just copy that over, right? Let me dock this over here so you can see what it looks like. Right? No, this one, scroll over. So there's what my item template looks like. So I want to use the same type of item template here for my Blazor component. Now, having to add the context attribute here, I'd love to not have to do that. But it's okay for now. So there you go, Batman. All right. It's Batman. Good to see you, Batman. How's the boy Wonder? Yeah, the cycle going back and forth between thick client and thin client has been going on much, much longer than the web's been around, right? We talk back to 3270 days, the old green screen terminals. Oh, green screen terminals. And then we went to client server with right client apps built in with Delphi or Visual Basic, and or gosh, even C++, right? MFC. Oh, that was a thing. And then we went to the web, right? Just delivering a browser and writing content. So we had a very thin application. So let's see how this works now. right? And I'm going to set this as my startup project. See if we get this to look a little bit like, well, I want to get my obsolete message popping out there, and I should only get the TRs outputted, which shouldn't actually be formatted yet, but I want to see if I get that obsolete message properly coming out when it builds. And I don't want it from that. I want it from the build. Right, I told it to go. There, build. Here we go. Shared sample objects, okay. There we go. List view data bind is obsolete. The method doesn't do anything in Blazor. That's not rude at all. All right, I've got a couple of errors here. Type arguments cannot be inferred from the usage. Try specifying the type arguments directly. Okay. Let's see, where did we go here? Where did we go wrong? Right? So this index, right? Simple list view data source. Well, I'm specifying the item type right there. Right? That should work. Items. And I don't need the cascading parameter now because I'm not doing that. Item templates. Yeah. This should capture it. Oh, you know what? Is it because I'm doing this data source at the end here? I wonder if that's it. Oh, and after render. Right, I was trying to get this to be able to data bind late. Well, wait, I have items being bound there, which should take care of that. What happens if I get rid of these? Right, does that work? Yes, Kizzy! I'm wearing my Gunner glasses. These are from Gunner Optics. They're blue blockers to help protect your eyes, reduce eye fatigue when you're looking at computer screen for many, many hours of a day. Create list view, render tree builder. Well, wait a sec. Hang on. Yeah, I thought I got rid of... Yeah. Why isn't it able to infer it? List view of type widget. That should work. Right? So what am I missing? Let's try getting rid of this altogether so it doesn't... rebuild. See if there's anything hanging out there bad. Failed. And it doesn't like these. Cannot be inferred from the usage. It doesn't know what the T item is. That's weird. That's weird. What am I missing? Because I'm specifying the items there. Right? It knows what this is. Try that. Oh, wait a sec. Why doesn't it... Right? Items is a thing here, right? There it is. Public enumerable items. Yeah. No, well, let me do that. That's weird. Right? I mean, items is a parameter. Oh, it's not a parameter. I got rid of it as a parameter. Right, so... where is it? It's in that shared collection that I have here. Not that. There we go. Yeah. Widget.simple widget list. That's what it is. Right, so if I have that, that should work. Right, and the item, not item template, item type is what it was over here. Which I don't really care about, and I can actually remove on the way out. Let's see if that works now. Let's see what we get here. How's it going, chat room? What do you think? There, now it's building and working. And if I look at the output, I want to look at the output from the build. It didn't give me any of those obsolete messages I was looking for. So list view. Okay, so it looks like a table, but it's not. Because it doesn't have... Yeah, I didn't output the table content for it, so we're good there. Hey, Wolfhound Jesse! So, we're not too bad here, right? And if I rebuild this project, I want to see that output error message saying that it's no. That the layout template is obsolete. Maybe... Can we put something... Can we say if layout template... If it is not null... Right, we want to output something that says... layout template is not supported in Blazor. Wrap the list view component with the layout desired. Right? And that's now totally a thing. So if they're... Why doesn't it... Uh-oh. Hang on. I got a green line here. Oh! Of course, it's telling me that there. List view. And if I go down into this, try and click up in here somewhere. Dock to the bottom. There it is. Layout template is not supported. Wrap the list view component with the layout desired. Okay. And if I go back to index here, and if I remove these things, right, if I don't use a layout template, I should get it without that message, right? just make sure that it captures what it looks like there. So I'm going to click into this. Yep. All right, so I don't get the layout template message. Good. So the way that you should use it then is to take this, pop that out there, and these, and drop it down here. Not too bad. It works. And then what you had as a header template, right? Because header template was a thing in web forms, right? Was there a header template? No, there isn't. Okay. That's not bad. We can work with this. We can do this. We can make it better. We can improve it. We can make Blazor stronger. Web forms better. I like it. So by doing it like this now, it should work. And actually, this bit should work now also. Right? So that if I don't have... so if I don't have the items collection there, that should totally work. X++, what's X++? Let me see. I don't think it recompiled for me. Let me kick that back off again. Nope. Because I broke it. Optimization. How did I break that? I didn't even touch this one over here. That's fine. Let me go back to the error list. I don't care about that one. Yeah, here. Type arguments cannot be inferred from usage. And that's when using this down here. Right? So data source, I have remapping over here to items so that I can connect and use the same there. What's with the @star tag here? That's in the Razor template. That indicates the start of a comment. This indicates the end of a comment. And whenever you use the @ symbol there, right? You're changing context from HTML to C#. Yep, Razor comments. There you go. Used to develop Microsoft Dynamics. No, not familiar with it. Do we have to write a converter to change the layout around when upgrading to this? Asks Smab. The goal is to minimize how much you need to convert. The goal is to keep that minimal. I want to give you as few changes as possible. So, not quite sure. Let me go back to the error list. This feels weird. So if I remove these, does it still work? Nope. Now I'm back into this type inference issue. If I rebuild, now that I have it commented out, no, still doesn't like it. Because it doesn't have items? Is that what it is? MyVen CH, a C# exe that serves HTML. So ASP.NET Core, just like ASP.NET before it, is a framework for building web applications. In ASP.NET, we built and deployed using IIS, Microsoft's web server that ran only on Windows. With ASP.NET Core, it's been rewritten, it's been updated so that it compiles to an executable that hosts its own web server and can be deployed to Windows, Mac, or Linux, and be developed on those platforms as well. So it's deployed as an executable so that you can use it not just with IIS, but also with Apache or Nginx, or choose your favorite web server that you may want to use the ASP.NET technology with. So, gives you a lot of flexibility there for how you build and deploy web applications. That's one of the reasons they use .NET Core with Azure Functions. Yes. That game interface thing for broadcasts. I don't follow. So what did I break here? Thank you for the follow, Gabe Horn, 2990. Appreciate the follow. Appreciate you joining us. Is it because I don't have the data source up here on the object? We were trying to move around so that we had a similar event, because in WebForms world, you have a code behind where you have a page load, and you set your data source and call data bind. I was trying to find another place that we could put that and still achieve similar experience. Right, so there's we've got a couple of different methods here that we could override. Right, on parameter set, by using that, these kind of get grumpy that it doesn't want parameters defined outside of the well, let's see what happens. Right, see if it still doesn't like it yet. It really doesn't like those being defined outside of having an items list here, right? Right. Widget dot simple widget list. And now that works, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Think you confused me with another guy. Oh, okay. What's the end app? What do you mean the end app? Blazor syntax is very similar to Razor. Yes. Blazor syntax. So Blazor is built on top of the Razor templating engine. So for those folks that have done ASP.NET MVC, ASP.NET Core, you have a very similar experience that you can migrate from and continue to work. Our goal with this project is to mimic the way that ASP.NET WebForms developers used controls to build their user interface, but instead we're going to do it with what we call Blazor components. And that's the goal, is to mimic and provide a way forward for folks to get a similar experience as they migrate forward, as they bring this technology that they've worked with since 2001 into the 2020s with Blazor, and they want it to work either server-side or maybe even on WebAssembly. They'll be able to migrate and have a similar component experience. So that's the goal. That's where we're trying to get to. But this isn't binding properly for me. So let's think this through a little bit. So we have a collection of items here that's a parameter that we're passing in. What if we take the data source? What if we take the parameter off of that? Does it still get grouchy over here about data source? Ah, we're okay there. That's okay. So maybe, right? Because data source isn't really something that you use with this. So maybe that'll work. Will that work? No, doesn't like it. Because is it because data source then is being late bound and it doesn't like the late binding to this? Tacos! Everybody gets tacos. Look at that. I don't want to make it nullable. Right? I mean, maybe if we just force you to no end then. Right? Of widgets. Right? Can we do that? Or, gosh, even just do this? Right? What happens with that? Yeah, I know. What happens if we do that? I mean, that's totally a thing. I don't want to make it nullable. Tommy K9991 asks about the font we're using. This is Cascadia code. This is Cascadia code that we're using. And you can get this font off of GitHub. It's an open source font that the folks on the Windows terminal, the new Windows terminal, are building. There you go. You can download and install this on your favorite operating system, and it works great. Looks really nice too. Thanks for the question. Appreciate that, Tommy. Thank you for the follow, my Vench. Appreciate that. Is that CH? Is that because you're in Switzerland? Is that what that is? Looks like San Francisco font from Mac OS. I'm not familiar with that font. Maybe. So that looks like it works. I mean, it built successfully. So if I refresh this, right, connecting, no, didn't work. Rerun that. List view. Yeah, it doesn't like it. Doesn't like it being on parameter set. So if I go back to the way that I had it, on after render, right? On after render, if we use that method to try to cheat here, right? Go back over here, try to refresh. Do I have to rebuild? I have to rebuild. Yeah, that broke. I'm gonna need to control F5. Rats. Do I need an @ sign in front of the items? No, actually I don't. So look at this. It bound to the empty items collection, but it didn't rebind when I set the items source. When I set the data source down here. Interesting. If I do it after on initialized, see what the heck? Protected, override, void, on initial. That's a bug. Right? Base dot on initialized. But if I set this here, so I try and do the same thing, right? This should kick over and tell me I don't think it did it. Let me rerun. The @ in front of items, no, you don't need, because you're inside of a component at that point, and it kind of recognizes what's going on there. What's the error we got? Object reference not set to an instance of an object in on initialized on line 55. Here. So it's telling me simple list view isn't a thing. So I'm trying to cheat by using the ref here so that I've got a reference to it after the page has loaded. So it's telling me that's not a thing. My other events are on parameters and on after render. And it's not a thing on after render. Or it's not binding. Might want to use if first render. Oh. Set the data source, then state has changed. Maybe we do that inside data bind. Right, do something like that. Get rid of this one, because clearly it's not there. Build that. Okay. This should... Yeah, I broke it. Restart. Yeah, DJ Vortex, I think that's what Blazor and Mr. Magoo is suggesting with that if first render. Come on. There it goes. There it goes. We got that. All right. I'm feeling much better about that. Use the if first render to wrap that. That's a thing. So, okay. I don't feel like we've gone too far off. I mean, let's just get it working, right? And then we'll make it cooler. So we handle if there's item template. Can I get rid of the items here? Or can I make item type, right? Because item type is a thing that you needed to have over here in ASP.NET Core. You had to specify item type. So can I get rid of items and have it set item type? Right, have that be a type and have it set the T item to it. Maybe that's a thing we can do. Right? Ugh. Parameter, right? Then this is a public, and it's going to be a type for item type. Can we say T item equals, well, return type of T item? Can we do set T item equals value? Can we do that?
Hey, listen.
I don't need my own param. At type param gives that already. Yeah, it's right there. But I don't think I can set type param. Right? Yeah, it's not there. I don't need my own param. This is, the item type is what's the default over here, right? This is a feature of ASP.NET Core to give it that item type. The problem that I'm running into is we need to force it, and it needs to know what that item type is when it's rendering. And you're suggesting go and do that. Can I... See, I don't think I can do that. Yeah. Right, I want to... Yeah, how do we change... How do we change that? Can we... If we can change the name of it, then can we change this? So it's that? Right? Like that? Come on. There it goes. So then from over here... Yes, I know it's a type. That worked. That worked. Copper Beardy with the raid. Woo!
Inconceivable!
Welcome in, my friend. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in, raiders.
Woo!
It's good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and we're working on building a list view component for Blazor that looks and feels like the list view control that came with web forms. You can defend the channel, absolutely. Exclamation point defend. I need to come up with a video. A defend video, a channel defend video. That would be really cool. How's it going, Copper Beardy? What were you working on over there on your channel? I was watching for a little bit. I know what you were working on, but let us know. What were you working on over there? Thank you for the tacos and the raid. Yeah. Welcome in, raiders. Day 12 of the Advent in Code in C#. So a number of the live coders, like Copper Beardy, have been working on the advent of code in all their different favorite programming languages. And I've purposely stayed away from that because I don't want to trample on a little bit of what they're doing. Let them do that. That's their thing. Go. Have fun. You don't need to see another person doing the same advent of code that those folks are doing. So you get a little bit of variety and content here on Twitch. Really cool stuff, Copper Beardy. Were you successful? Were you able to finish day 12? I know some folks on the team have been struggling with some of the days of the project. But that works now. That works. That looks so cool. I'm pretty happy with that. That this is now working. So now can I get rid of the first render? Do I need the first render there? Right? Can I make that work? I don't know if that actually did the new thing. I don't know if it did the new thing. Part one you completed, part 2, no. Was it another virtual CPU task? I don't know. That worked. I don't need the ensure bits anymore, and I can get this to work. Right? Can I take that other bit out of the data bind so it isn't doing anything? You know what? It's not, I'm not getting the restart feature that I want because I'm not running in IIS Express. So now let me start that and it'll kick over. Blazor Mr. Magoo says, otherwise without first render, you are setting it on every render, which is a waste of effort. Nope, looks like I need the state has changed to get that data bind to work. Which makes me feel like I need to do that. Rebuild, and this should restart, right? Build succeeded. Nope. I'm not going to get it to restart the way I want it to. Hello, Eladrix from Spain. Welcome. David Pine is here. Good morning. Midnight Tangent Ryan. Blazor baby. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There it goes. So we do need the data bind because of how we're doing this. And we're doing it on every render. Yeah, okay. Right, that's... There we go. And reload. I guess it worked. Let me kick it off again. Yeah, okay. And it does work. Cool. So what we've done, we've got the same item type. I like this. I like this a lot. We have the same item type and ID we turned into ref, right? Into an @ref, which I think is okay. Anyone else getting audio cut out? No, you shouldn't have audio cutting, no? We're good. You might be hearing my headset bumping up against the other microphone here. So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff for channel points over there if you want to redeem. You want to make things a little bit crazy here on stream. You're welcome to do that and have a bit of fun with us here on stream. So, let's take a look here. Why do we need run at server? We don't, David Pine. But I wanted to start with the attributes that were over here, copy them over, and see if we can get them to work. I am using 2 mics, NetJam Jr. And I'm using 2 mics so that, well, quite frankly, we can have some fun with voice mod. Yeah, that's totally a thing. Totally a thing. All right? So, and there's redemptions now for channel points, so you can do that. So, thank you for the follow, Yemi. Appreciate you joining us. So, the run at, while that, and I would love if I could change the @ref here. Change that so it was ID. So the ID would just come along as well and be able to use that. Thank you for the follow, David Pine. Appreciate it. That's what the problem is. You don't have the hamster mod running. No hamster mod. We're not going to do that right now. Right? There's other ones in there that we can hit for a couple minutes if you'd like as well. I'd love to be able to strip that out when we splat out the additional attributes here. And actually, I'm not putting additional attributes anywhere. So they're not actually being output. We want the code to function without changes if possible. Yep. So I need to output those additional attributes somewhere. Right? I forget how that works. Oops. Let me go back over here. I'm going to look at the docs. Blazor, capture unmatched values. So I can output these. Wow. And handle it appropriately, right? Capture unmatched values. Yeah, attributes. Those additional attributes. So if I want them to appear, right? You've put them on the list view. No, I think I want to ditch all of them. I think I'm okay saying you want to ditch them all. Just ignore them. Does that state change have to be in the data bind function? Can it be in the data source property instead? That's not a bad idea. So if you bind data source, which is using the more web forms specific feature, then I can go back to marking this as obsolete. Because if you're using a web forms like approach, force the state has changed. Versus if you're using the Blazor type, I'm going to assume that you're in Blazor mode. I think that makes sense. Should be able to do that. Uh-oh. Let me close some of these. Let's rebuild and see what happened here. Yeah, build succeeded. Nope. Need to kick it off again. In the ASP.NET framework, data source was a bag of objects. That's why the item type was required. Yep. Kasukin! With the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome in, raiders. My name is Jeff Fritz, and we're working on a little bit of a set of Blazor components that mimic and act like the way web forms used to work. Abaddon1334, welcome. Yeah. So,
Oh my.
yes. With generics, we should be able to omit the item type altogether. Absolutely. So if you, here's the thing, check this out. So I'm using listview here, right, in a very web formsy like way. But if I wanted to use listview in a very Blazor way, right, I can still do that and do this, right, and have an item template that is, I don't know, a list item, nah. Right, if we do this as a, unordered list, so it's a series of bullets, right, I can do this, right, then I can do, each item is, right at, see, now I need to, this needs to know what its context is. I'd love to be able to get rid of that, so I just had a default. But I'd be able to say item dot, and it doesn't know what it is. Right? That could be a problem. Can I just do, let's do item dot name. That could be a problem when you're in a very Blazor-centric way to do this. See what that looks like. Hey, Chris Jones, good to see you. Claudia online. Welcome, Claudia. Welcome on in. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, that worked. But I'm not getting the IntelliSense on these things down here, right? It doesn't know what the item is. Even though that's returning an array into my items object. Very WPF-esque. Exactly, GL Conti, is that how you pronounce that? Let me know, I want to make sure I pronounce your name right. That's exactly the goal, is we want to mimic the way web forms worked so that folks that are migrating from this get a good experience over here using these controls. But the fact that this doesn't give me that completion is a little disheartening. It's like I'm missing something here. Good pronunciation. All right. Thank you, GL Conti. I'll pronounce it that way. Tiago Moraz, thank you for the follow. And Claudia online, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate that. So I feel like I kind of have to specify the item type here. Ugh. Can I just say widget? Doesn't know what that is. If I do that, then do I get this? Item dot. Now it knows what these things are. Not terrible. Not terrible. Right, that items here should kind of force it to know what it is. Right? That's weird. Did you see that? Item dot name. No, that time it worked. Okay. But the fact that I need to have the item type there, you shouldn't need to do that. Right? That I should be able to get. Right? It feels like the IntelliSense here, it doesn't know what this thing is. right? But it certainly renders properly. It does the bind properly. There are a couple places where IntelliSense doesn't work quite right. Yeah, definitely see that. So, right, using the Blazor type of approach here, that works and looks good. You know what? I'm willing to say we're in a pretty good place here. I'd love to be able to get that type of rendering working here, but without rewriting the way that the Blazor components inspect the tree and render the item templates. For a first pass, I think we're okay in saying that these two are equivalent. Let me put some carriage returns in here so you can kind of see that we're doing the same thing. Right? You know what? Let's even do this. Let's just stack these so you can kind of see them right next to each other. Right, so my list view is, right, ASP list view. Instead of an ID, it's a ref, and the other things just carry down. And what you had for your item template, you specify context. I would love to be able to get rid of that, but you just replace all of your binding with the ats and get rid of the other ones, and it just works. I think we're okay. It's functioning equivalent, but not really. It is, David Pine, you're right. Blazor is far better, but we're trying to lessen the slope of that ramp for folks to change from web forms to Blazor. I think this is a good start. Okay, let's take a look at the next feature inside that list view that we can. And then we're going to look at the next feature, the next template inside the list view that we can mimic here. So, empty data template. I think we should be able to test that, right? Right, empty data template, right, would just be something that, right, in this case, why are you giving me track? I would do something like call span equals 4, no items, no widgets available, right? I would do something like that. So I would think up here, right, I would have empty data template, right, and I would do something similar. Call span equals 4, no widgets available, and hopefully it looks the same. So if instead of binding to this, right, if we bind to new widget, so it's empty, right? Hopefully we get the same thing. How many David Pine, there's a couple questions here while I'm letting that rebuild. Let me queue these up here. David Pine asks, curious how many customers are still using web forms around the world. There are millions of applications built with web forms. Millions of them that are still active out there. There is telemetry on how many folks are still building with web forms, because Visual Studio, you agree and you opt into that telemetry, so we can ask these types of questions and know how much Microsoft folks need to provide these types of features. There's yes, tons of them out there. So the question from Scott TCT is, what? This is a question from who? Scott! Yes, him. Are we converting web form templates to Blazor Razor? We're providing a facility that'll get you similarly there. We'll come back and we'll ask some of the harder questions around some of these things in a bit. But that's the goal, is let's try and make this easier for folks. So, no widgets available. It appropriately output in... This is the one that I put down here at the bottom. I'll put it in the one up at the... Actually, I didn't bind to anything there, so... Yeah, no widgets available. Right? Oh, no. Wait a sec. Yeah, there is only one. So I have the headers and I have the no widgets available. Good. That behaves properly. So empty data template works. Okay. Let's put the other doodads back in there. Right? Yeah. You'd be curious of a side-by-side performance benchmark. Sure, you're welcome to do that, but we know that the performance of Blazor is light years ahead of web forms. We do know that. You're welcome to execute it. The projects are available here. There's a link to where the project is in GitHub if you're interested. What else? What other templates should we look at here in ASP.NET that we can implement? So we did edit empty data, empty item template. What's empty item template? I forget what that one is. Is that when there's... I forget what empty item template is. Is it going to give me some IntelliSense here? No. Let's go back over here. What's empty item template? List view empty item template property. Here we go. Gets or sets the user-defined content for the empty item that is rendered when there are no more data items to display in the last row of the current data page. Huh? So you have a layout template we've gotten rid of. Ooh. Group template. I forgot there's grouping. And group separator. Empty item templates. So when does empty item template come in? Right? Interesting. Empty item template. Where is it? Where is it picking that up? I'm not sure. NetJam Jr. asks, how long does Microsoft feel like old technology should be able to keep working without breaking? Define old. There are people in the JavaScript world who would tell you that Angular 6 is old. It was just released last year, but it's old. How much longer should that be supported? The support terms for .NET are 5 and 5. You get 5 years free support after it was released, 5 years paid support available after that. So the answer is 10, but web forms is part of the .NET framework, and a new version comes out with each version of Windows. So effectively, until .NET framework is removed from Windows, it's not going away, and that's not happening anytime soon. Janescu, yes, the ASP.NET Core versions, there's two different tracks. There's a current track, and there's an LTS, a long-term support track. If you choose to use a current version, you're expected to upgrade 3 months after the next current version is released. That's the way it works. The long-term support, you have 3 years between support versions. So there are folks who believe that current is too long. It's too long to wait 3 months to upgrade. We want to upgrade immediately. Go for it. Be more aggressive about your upgrade cycle. That's up to you. You have that flexibility. You have that option. Everything's open source. Download nightly builds if you'd like. More power to you.
Oh my.
Or that's a little too aggressive for you and you want to go with that longer term support. You have 3 years of support and 1 year after that to migrate to the new platform, the new version. And there are some folks who think that's not long enough. There's different takes for different folks. So, but it does provide a level of support that's actually longer than other comparable open source web platforms. And the fact of the matter is, when you have to support multiple versions of a framework, consider right now Microsoft is supporting .NET 4.6.2, .NET 4.7, .NET 4.7.1, and .NET 4.8. That's 4 different versions of .NET. That's a lot. That's a lot of people that need to be kept around whose sole job is just to manage those things and all the frameworks and capabilities that went with them, instead of building cool new things and making those cool new things run faster, better, stronger for you. So if we can shrink the number of those frameworks that are being maintained and keep it to 2, maybe 3, that means that we can have more engineers, more program managers working on cool new things to push technology forward. Fuel Snable uses Python 2.7. 2.7. You're doing your best ignoring the upgrade warnings when it's not going to be supported in 2020. Yeah, Python 2 loses support. So you've got an upgrade there you need to do, but it's open source. Do you have the talent to manage it? Tick-tock, tick-tock. You're welcome for the insight, NetJam Jr. I'm always happy to answer those types of questions. Tofu Lock, dropping in to say hello. Been a while. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for stopping by, Tofu Lock. I really appreciate you saying hello here this morning. And Stelzy makes a very good point here. If you look at the Linux distribution space, and particularly Ubuntu, you can only expect some compatibility with the LTS versions from third-party applications. Non-LTS, those are the long-term support versions. It's do crazy but not expected stuff that nobody else cares for. Yeah. If you want to be aggressive, you can certainly do that. You want your Windows Phone to be supported for more years, and the last update was on Tuesday. Alas, Windows Phone, we loved you. You were gone too soon. There's my old Verizon Windows Phone right there. Look at that. Look at that. That was a wonderful phone. I really, really enjoyed it. There's features that still aren't supported in iPhone and Android. I don't see my other phone. Oh, I had a couple of Nokias here. Right as I reach into the shelf of broken dreams. This was a Nokia. I forget what it was called. What Verizon called it. But this was a tremendous Windows phone that I used for years. Loved it. Really, really enjoyed the Windows phones. But now with the gaze, the look to open, look to unlock, the face recognition on your phones, I can't just do the glance and see, here's my updates on the phone. It doesn't work. So, retired your Lumia 950 last month. It was a great phone. I can't wait to see what they do with the new Surface Android phones. I'm really excited to see how those come out here.
Scott, I'm new here.
Okay, yeah.
Randactyl, thanks so much for the sub with Twitch Prime. I really appreciate that. We'll make a donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. You're going to get 17 emotes. Turn off the advertisements here on the channel, and most importantly, you're going to get to throw emotes at my face. And thanks to our friends at Coca-Cola, and Twitch, 5 other folks in chat got emotes as part of the Haha Holidays promotion. If you have Amazon Prime, you probably do, so you can get free shipping for holiday presents here. Thank you for the follow, Randactyl and Scott TCT. Appreciate those. If you do have your Amazon Prime, link it to your Twitch account. It's free to do. And you get one subscription you can use anywhere you'd like here on Twitch. If you choose to use it with me, I'll make a donation to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, turn off those ads for you, and you'll get the 17 emotes. Like that one, darn Skippy, you saw go flying by. Your Huawei Mate 20 Pro has much better, faster hardware. Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to find too many Americans using the Huawei phones, though. A little bit of a Chinese thing happening there that folks aren't too thrilled with. One settings is lost too. They're on the phone side. Okay. All right. So we have different features. I don't want to go after this empty item template. I'm not sure how that actually works. That feels weird. But item separator template. Item separator template. How is that rendered? Right? Let's see what that looks like. Let's put one of those in here and see what happens. So item separator template, right? If we do that, and there's that stupid track again. I want tr td call span equals 4, and let's say style equals border bottom 1 pixel solid black, let's say, right? And it just put an NBSP in there, non-breaking space. Gosh, how HTML2. No jingles. Hello, hello. Mary Jo Stabler is here. Where is it? Where is it?
Greetings, my excellent friend.
Mary Jo's another member of the Live Coders team. Thank you so much for dropping in. And Mary Jo's been working on the Advent of Code as well. Really great stuff. No jingles. No jingles. I don't have the jingles when folks when other Live Coders join the channel like Ninja Bunny does. Those are really cool. I have Mario coins. You can have Mario coins. Salutations! And I'm writing code.
Do it live!
And doing it live. See, that's the thing. You were thinking holiday themes. I should have done a holiday theme thing. I should have. That would have been cool. I'm going to copy the item separator template. See if I can get this working up here with Blazor. See what that looks like. And look at this. It's already grouchy. Oh, I don't know what this is. So let's make an item separator template in our Razor view. Right? So this is just another template. I'd really like my templates to be like in alphabetical order here. Can I be a little picky about that? Can I nitpick about that for a second? So this is item separator template. So I think that goes up here, right? This is going to be a render fragment, and it doesn't have a data type in it. But this is item separator template, like that. And this is a parameter, so that we can output that. But what's it right now? That should compile, right? This should go away now because it's now a thing in my code behind, right? Right? It's totally a thing now. Right? Render fragment. That should go away. Let's see if it compiles away. Is this SSB or CSB? Server-side Blazor or client-side Blazor? Chicken wing with the abbreviations.
Bazinga.
Neither. These are components that should work in both locations. We've got a problem. List view accepts child content through the following top-level items: empty data template, item separator template, and layout template. Well, yeah, item separator template. Item template. Why don't you like item template? To be fair, Google still wants to do business with Huawei. They can. Do I have a physical soundboard with buttons, or am I using some kind of software thing? I have 4 Stream Decks in front of me. And there are some sound effects that you can fire from chat. Do I need the context? Well, the item... Hang on. Wait a sec. Let me move this over next to it. Because I think I have it looking the same. Let's put this over here. What? I forgot to move the parameter with it. That should work now. Right? Gotta have the code lined up properly. There we go. So now I want to run both applications. No, I don't want to look at Azure right now. Let me see what my web forms application looks like with that item separator in there. And then we'll make the Blazor component do the same thing. What? Are you kidding? It's like it didn't install, it's like it didn't restore packages properly. Let's do this. Let me go up here. And where is it? I want to restore NuGet packages. No, they haven't been restored, you fool! Rebuild. Okay. Try it again. See if we can get that to work. I know, Chicken Wing. I know. It should have just worked. Nope. Doesn't see Roslyn CSC. What are we missing? What are we missing? What are we missing? And I'm keeping an eye on those channel points here, see if there are any redemptions that come through. Yes, the Android ecosystem can be very fickle. Very good point. CSC is the C# compiler, yes. But it should, right, if I look at the properties of this. It's .NET Framework 4.8, which is installed on this system. And when you look at the packages that are installed here, right, some of these, right, there it is, .NET Compiler Platform, right? Let me uninstall and reinstall that. It's that Code DOM Providers is what it's trying to do. Code DOM Providers. Should find that. There it is. So that's for this, and it should. Yeah. Where'd it go? Try that one more time. Blazor is in .NET Framework. It is not. No. This is the web forms version of the project. I think we got it this time. There it goes. So there is, yeah, reinstalling the package worked. So I have a project here that is web forms, that is ASP.NET 4.8, that is running the control that we're trying to mimic, and here's the control. There it is. And that item separator, it's outputting after each item. So Blazor is .NET Core. Blazor server side is .NET Core 3. Blazor with WebAssembly is at least .NET Core 3.1. That's where the current version runs. So this looks like it's working properly. So now let's mimic that. It's dropping that TR after each item, right? So what I can do to make my list view work the same is I can say, not just item template, but then I can say item separator. Maybe I need to do right if item separator template does not equal null, like that. Is that a thing? Right, do something like that. Can I do that? Maybe that'll work. Or do I need to put a parentheses after that? Or maybe we do this. Right? Just to make this a little bit clearer. Nope, wrong way. Like that. Right? So that matches that one. What's this one match? Don't need those. Yeah, that matches that. This matches that one. That should work. That should totally work. Oh, I need an at in front of it. There we go. Yeah. Is it a delegate? No, it's what's called a render fragment, or what those templates are. So now, if I close that, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Nope. Let me rebuild now what the Blazor one looks like. Right? See if I can get this to behave the same way. It's not in that project. It's over in this project, that's why. I was on the wrong web server. I'm still on the wrong web server. What? Try this. Yep, those are called ligatures. That's a feature. There we go. So... I don't have the other one up, but it's now behaving the same. And if I remove that empty data, not empty data, item separator template, if I remove this, try that again. It should. There we go. Works properly. Fantastic. One more done. I like that. Okay, so that's another one of the child templates completed.
Bazinga.
Yes, bazinga. What else do we have here as a child template item that we can look at? I could do alternating item template. Do you want to do alternating item template? Let's do that. So alternating item template is for when you want to do something, right? Not that. Let's move it up so it's right next to the other. Right? And this is pretty much the same thing. But you might have something like that, right? Because you're using Bootstrap to format this. So if I go over here, right, do I have, what do I have here? Bootstrap, yeah. What's the, right, so if I make this table, right, and then the table dash dark, if I were to do that, and I want to do the exact same thing inside Blazor, right, so now I've got alternating item template. I'm going to need the same context equals item here. I need to change these to @ signs. And I'd love to be able to figure out a way to make make Razor be able to understand that for the purpose of this. At what point do I check in the code that works so far? I'm going to do it in just a little bit. Yeah, the zebra striping. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Sean, thank you. Exactly. So I need an alternating item template that's pretty much the same as my item template. And I'm going to put these in the appropriate param. Come on. That's how I want it. So this is another property, right? It's a render fragment of type item type. Alternating item template. So in order to make that work the same way this does, in my list view over here, I'm going to need to keep a counter instead of just doing a straight for each. Right? Let's see. So let's do this. Create a code block here. Let's call this row counter. Right? And what I'll do is say if row counter mod 2 equals 0, then we'll do add item template, else at alternating item template item. And as we're doing the for each, and instead of a for each, I could do that as a for. You know what? Let's do it as a for var. Right, instead of a for each. Nah, no. Let's do it this way. And we'll say at row counter plus plus. Right? We can do that. I need a semi at the end of that. So it increments at the end, and we should get the appropriate alternating item template output for Blazor. If, right now this should update. Come on, update, update. No. What do we got here? List view, empty item. I thought we just put it in there. Parameter, public, render fragment, item type, alternating item template. Alternating item, yeah, now it found it. Null check for, oh yeah, good point. Good point. And alternating item template, or alternating item template. Now let's go the other way. Right? If alternating item template equals null, or, then we'll do that. Good call. Good catch. If the user doesn't provide one. Let's give this a shot and see what it looks like. What? Fine, you don't like that? We'll get rid of that. I think we need something like that. So that each time through it alternates. Why don't you like that? Unexpected. Once inside the code body, you do not need to use. Well then. Fine. I'll just do that then. You like apples? How about them apples? Come back over here, build this one. Does that one work? Yep. So now if I go back over to my browser, let's refresh. I'm feeling good. No, I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling terrible. Yeah, look at that. So it flipped, even though I've got the, so that's interesting, even though I've got, oh, I've got item separator turned on, and I've got the, so that's kind of right. So don't need the null check. Well, yeah. I don't need any additional null check there. That just works. Pretty good. All right, I'm going to commit those changes at this point. I removed a couple files? Yeah, the list view layout. All right. So let's add So we added item separator. Alternating item templates. And what else? Yeah, those are the ones we added. Get those committed. And there's a whole bunch of events that occur with this also that at some point we're going to need to address. We will, yes, please. That's exactly what I'd like to do. Fantastic. I don't have null ref checking on no. That is so much better to use @item instead of the beasting syntax. It was a real pain back in the day using web forms and that table template component. I agree. I'd love to be able to support the beasting syntax so that we can, and let me put Motown Andy's comment up there so you can see what I mean by the beasting syntax, right? The less than % equals item. That syntax I'd love to be able to support with a warning to kind of force folks to be able to convert, right? To say, oh, I've got to update from that. But for what we have here, let me get rid of the layout template. This, the only change that needed to be made here from the syntax that we have, right? The namespace and changing ref to ID. Otherwise, run at an item type just work. Alternating item template, you need to add this context to this, to the child templates. I'd love to be able to remove that context and have it just kind of, have you be able to specify whatever, if you don't specify the context, have it pick up and run with item as the context. I think that it'd be great if I could have that default, right? Can we get a little shifty here? What if could I create a component that inherits from listview called ASP listview? I'm not sure that the namespace is supported. Let me come back to that idea just a second. And if we inherit from render fragment, sure, generate the constructor. Now what? What don't you like now? It's sealed. Well, that stinks. All right, what do I have here? Do I have context? No. I can't touch the context. There's got to be a way to do that. The colon in a class name would not be valid. You're correct. There's got to be a way to do this. Yeah, this is the class name for the component. No. What kind of... It'd be cool if we could help support the namespace capability there, but it's not quite there. What I was going to look for is, can I get the render fragment to give me that context? Right, because item template is, right, a render fragment, which is a delegate. Ooh, yes, render tree builder. Yeah. somewhere that is specified, and I'd love to be able to default that. You know? There's totally a thing there that I would... right? To provide input and receive on the associated edit context. Template context parameters. Components arguments are passed have an implicit parameter named context. So you say at context dot pet ID in this case in order to, right? Because it's named pet. Or you can do at context. I want to have it default to something else. I want to have it default to item on the component element. The specified context attribute applies to all template parameters. So can I put it on... well, we could look at the source in GitHub. You're right, Blazor, Mr. Magoo. Can I put it on this? Right? What if... I could say that, but can I force it from here? Can I say this dot? Can I say base dot context? No, that's not a thing. So where does context go to when I set it up here? Right, if I do that, then I don't need this. And it just works. But it's totally coming off of something. Yeah, I want to set it in the constructor right here. Right? But it's not a thing. Right? So it's coming from, it's being set somewhere. Look at the generated Razor GCS to see where context is set to item. That's not a bad idea. So I'm going to come over here. We can look at the generated Razor for this, which... yeah. Right, if we really want to look at this, isn't it down in obj? There it is. So this is, when you write Razor templates, this is what it actually does. So let's find, what do you mean you can't find context? Alternating item template. Item builder 2. So it dropped it in there. It rendered the code, and there's item ID that it's executing. Add content item ID. Interesting. Okay, okay. Or as a context type attribute on the... I don't think we can... What is that? The value of a static field is unique for a particular... No. So, right. item is being used right here. So even though it's specified here, it's picking that up and shoving it down there. Is there a context that we can set? No. Nope. I could do a little digging and find this. I could dig into the Blazor source and figure out where to use it. I think that's going to be a little bit too removed. You know? Do I have access to the builder and the constructor? Context is an attribute. Yes, so I have it right there. And I can change the name to item. Right. I've done that there, but I want to default it to item instead. Right. So if I remove this, that's not it. If I remove that, right, this becomes at what's it become? At context dot. Oh, I have a context here. Get rid of that one. Right? Now it's at context.id. Instead of context being the default for these components, I'd like the default to be item. So that right up here, I want to default on these templates. Context is item. Adding a C# attribute, context attribute with a name over the listview class. I don't follow. So let's say I put that attribute out there. How do I enforce? How do I set the context for this? Right? I can't reach into it from here. Yeah. No, I don't. It's not something that's directly available. Be really cool if we could. And, right, be able to still have context here, but have it just default the other way so that it's now item. So, I totally agree with you. It'd be great to be able to say context, name equals item. And I want to apply that to all of the components that I'm building here, so that you get that rich interaction, that rich default that came with web forms. How do I change the default? Right now that I've captured that there, I need to apply it somewhere. Well, how do I apply that? Right? I'm effectively getting right, and even if I move that up here, right? It's not a thing. Right, I need to grab it. So, is there one per property? No. No. So, I can put the context on each one of the templates. And that's something that you as a developer consuming this component should be able to do. That's your option. Yes, go do that. But for what we're accomplishing, what we're trying to do, not using the parameter to have another attribute here. I get context static. No. We could go digging in the source code and figure out where we need to apply that. Holy crow. My phone's blowing up here. What happened? Okay. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to check and make sure I'm on time here for my afternoon. Yeah, I'm good. I've got clear sailing here. I could dig into the source and figure out where that's... Let me take that as a to-do item and put that on... I've got so many things here. Here. Take that as an issue, as a nice to have to do in the future. Default the context for a control to item. Need to do some research into how Blazor sets at context as the default context variable name for child components to maintain web forms compatibility. Yeah, we should reset the default for these controls only components to add item. I think that'll and that's an enhancement. Help wanted on that. I think that will be extremely helpful to be able to provide, but I'm not going to get hung up on it right now. I think we've got some other features here that we can build and have fun with. So we did alternating item template. We did item template, item separator template. What else? What other cool things can we put in here? Edit item template, group separator, group template. We could get into group templates and selected item template. No, you know what? It's 12:15. I'm not going to get into another template right now. Let's just call it right here. I feel like we made some really good progress on our list view. We drew some lines here, and we've set this on a path. Smoke effects. We're not using smoke here. Coding Bandits rating. Welcome in. You're catching me right as I'm wrapping up here, Gary. Oh.
What'd you do?
Yeah, what'd you do over there on your stream? I'm gonna check in my code here real quick. What did I change? Let me run a quick git diff and see what's different here. Oh, I just moved the context around, and I got rid of the layout template. That's okay. Good. So we're at a really neat place here with that list view where I feel like it's at a place that folks could start to use it. I think it's a neat place where markup wise, it's similar. It's not perfect, but it's similar. let's say simplified list view usage. Oh my gosh, 1 year!
Coding Bandit just resubscribed for 12 months.
Stop that. Stop that music right there. Hold on. 12 months with Carrie. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, my friend.
Let me add some value.
Woohoo, I have a spinny.
Yeah, at 1 year, you're the loyalty badge, the subscriber badge, puts a spinner on your hat. Thank you so much for that cheer and for the resub. We're going to make donations to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. 8 other folks in chat just got some emotes, thanks to our friends at Coca-Cola and Twitch and their Haha Holidays promotion. Thank you so much, Carrie. Let me just take a minute here and I'll show you. Well, that doesn't work. Where did it? There we go. Let me show you. I now have a list view component that does very much the same things as far as layout template we can't support. So I've actually got a render, an obsolete message that appears in there. And but alternating item template, I've got that working. I've got item template working, item separator template, empty data template. These all work for our list view component. So we have a direction to move forward with this that works with just rendering content. Now we've got to start coming back and looking at some of the interactions with this and making those a little bit more interesting. So the question is going to be, do we go next into the interactions, select, insert, edit, and make those work? Or do we go into another template and get the read-only interactions working? Another control and get the read-only interactions working for that. In the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish up here. I've pushed that content up into our repository out here, Fritz and Friends Blazor Web Forms Components. Before next time, before we get back together tomorrow, I'm going to put some more content in here so that we have a little bit more inside of the wiki, the documentation that's up here. And I'm also going to put together a build process so that it's building these components, making them available as a NuGet package, and starting to push them out to NuGet.org so that folks can start using these as we add new features to this. And I'm going to leave it with a very, very low version number so that folks understand it's going to take some time, and we're building these things. Finish the one template and move on after. When you say finish, do you mean finish adding the edit and insert features? Because there's a whole bunch of events that happen here that we need to be able to handle and process as well. There is a .NET NuGet push command. Yes, there is now. You get better interactions there. Let me set up and let's get ready to do our raid here. Like I said, I'm feeling really good about this. I'll write a little bit of documentation and get that NuGet interaction working for next time. Let me take a look at who's streaming right now. Who can we raid? Let me take a quick peek over here at my list of folks. And you know what? I think we can raid somebody new who's streaming. Let's raid. This is somebody new. This is a friend. Let's put out the raid call here, and let's raid. This is Jess Chadwick. We're gonna raid. Jess is a friend, and right, Jay Chadwick. There he is. Starting up, brand new streamer. Let's show him a little bit of support. Head over there, drop our raid notifications, welcome him to Twitch. Looks like he's doing some work with JavaScript. And let him know that we appreciate him as a new coder out there on Twitch. Yes, he's doing some JavaScript. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. This video, like my other videos, will be available over on YouTube. I have a stack of these set up that I need to export, and I'm going to work on those later today. Thank you so much to all of our followers, all of our new followers, all of our new subs. We're getting closer to our 10,000 follower goal, and I very much appreciate all of that. We're going to be making some big donations to St. Jude this month, thanks to your subscriptions, thanks to your cheers. But I will see you next time. Get ready to say hi to Jess Chadwick. Take care, everybody.